Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, and we've talked about this before.
I'd have found a coach like yourself and teaching some one-on-one things because there are a couple of years, and like I say, the coaches were nice guys, but there were a couple of years he was just basically out there. And, when you talk about kicking it to the fastest kid, well, that was my kid.
Right. So he was, to the untrained eye, he was looking good, but he wasn't really learning soccer.
Exactly.
And I will say one thing, to be fair to coaches in general, even the good ones, which is why I've always tried to make myself available when kids on the team want to go out into smaller groups, because now, great, when there's you're talking about professional teams and you have as many on the staff as you do players, it's completely different. But when you're talking about travel like this, and it's maybe one coach running everything, there are a lot of things that it's very difficult to do with a team in team practices. I had 3 girls out last Sunday that went out, and one of them mentioned we did a drill, and she's like, "Yeah, I really like that one." And I said, "Well, yeah, see, that's one of the things that I really can't fit into a team practice, just because of the setup, and you want 1 or 2 players and things like that." So that small group stuff, or even one that is really, really important to do. And if you don't have the money for a trainer, which I understand is, you probably have a third and fourth mortgage just to pay for travel soccer for the club, get your kid out there with the ball, and just because. And I've said that to my kids before, which is why I filmed stuff and given it to them. I said, we could spend all practice, every practice, doing foot skill stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's that important, and also just them learning it. I remember when we were younger, we would do that for a little bit to introduce them to stuff, and then by the time we do it again, they don't even know what it was, because they're only doing it at practice. But I'm like, there's so much we have to teach you. So yeah, I mean, parents and players, don't rely on team practices.
Well, that's the main thing I would change is to get him doing the extra stuff a little earlier than I did. But like I say, didn't know any better.
Right.
Just took him to practice, and hey, the coach will teach him and what have you. Now the good thing was, like I say, when my kid was young, he was always moving.
Right.
So spend a lot of time in the backyard just kicking the ball.
Which is great.
And in a lot of ways, I think that's helped him. I mean, on his high school team, I know it's not saying much, Even though he doesn't start, he has the best ball skills on the team, and his coach would tell you that.
And your follow-up is, well, coach, why isn't he starting? Right? That's he's fast and he has the best ball skills. What am I missing? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, the coach told me, he said he's working on toughening him up some, which I agree with. He needs to get more aggressive. I personally think it's time for him to be starting, but that's another thing that I've learned. Now that my kid, when my kid got to be 12, 13, I quit talking to coaches about any playing time or anything. That's up to Dante.
Right.
So I've learned to stay out of that completely. So when I talked to his coach last night, it was, how you doing? Dante doing okay? And he was like, yeah. Said, he just needs to toughen up a little bit. That's a final piece. And I said, okay. But
sounds like he'll start eventually. If I'm reading the coach right, maybe he's trying to get him a little bit hungrier for it.
Yeah, which I agree with. And that's another thing, this is the first year in 10 years. It's been an adjustment for me, going to a game and sitting there for 20 minutes and my kid not playing.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And like, what the hell am I looking at?
Right.
because, you know, like you say, high school ball is, you know, some games are just super exciting. You know,
Right.
you have to take your blood pressure medicine. But then there were games like last night where I was like, I'd rather be just about anywhere than sit right here. And my kid's sitting on the bench. And I'm like, how terrible is my kid? He can't even start in this shit show here.
Maybe that's good though, right? Maybe that's good.
But it's been good for him because I think at the beginning of the season it bothered him,
right?
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But you know, he plays starter minutes, and he's always in there in crunch time.
Right.
So, you know, if he plays starter minutes, you can't really complain about. You know, who cares who runs out there first?
Right.
If you know the guy who starts in front of him gets 20 minutes and he gets 35.
Right. Well, there you go to the America. What Buford's saying is, it's basketball. You'd rather be in at the end of the game than starting, because that's what really matters.
Yes.
And they'll understand that. Speaking of crunch time, right?
Yeah.
You know, so you know the players that are getting the Sixth Man of the Year awards, they're in at the end of the game. They might not be starting, but they're in at the end of the game.
Yeah. So you know he's always in when it matters. So you know really, and honestly, I think he's kind of adjusted to him. But like I say, you know, he loves his coach.
Right.
And it's the first one. It's really the first coach that I've really liked. You know, I've liked most of his coaches, and like I said, all of them have been great guys.
Right.
But you know, the first coach he had in travel ball was in so far over his head. I mean, it was, you know, I might as well have been out there coaching them.
Well, that would have been interesting, right?
Oh, well, we would have been exciting. Now we wouldn't have won anything, but we would have been exciting.
Well, that's important too, right? You know, people watch Manchester City not just because they win, but because of how they play.
Yeah.
Or go back to the Dutch teams way back, right? They, you know, I mean, that was the whole country's philosophy. They'd rather lose 5-4 than win 1-0. You know,
yes.
Exciting soccer. That's what we got to work on in America. But wow, I don't want to keep you forever. Go ahead.
I said we really do, and I know that's one thing you stress about a lot is creativity.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And you know, fortunately, you know, my son is a pretty creative player. He.
Yeah, I'm seeing that from what you're showing. He's
not scared to try right. something in the game and lose the ball. He gets yelled at a lot for it, but
what?
It's much better than, you know, just one touch, pass it. You know, as soon as he gets the ball, you know, sometimes I hear other parents, pass it.
Yeah, no, it drives you crazy. I have a couple of girls that are pretty creative and willing to do that, and probably one who's most like that drove me crazy because they were, I guess, freshmen last fall and going to some of the high school games, and I said, this is my goal scorer. You know, she's creative with the ball. She's a good 1v1 player, and I mean, I see she would receive a pass, you know, like the top of the D, and have one defender. And as soon as she touches the ball, I'm hearing the team sideline, you know, pass it, get rid of it. And I'm like, oh my Lord, are you kidding me? What are you doing there? You have a goal scoring opportunity.
Yes.
Like, you know, and the whole losing it thing too. Again, that's the American soccer. I mean, all we ever see
Messi loses it. You know,
that's where I was going. I was saying, go watch Ronaldo, go watch Messi, and the women's side, go watch Marta, go watch Tobin Heath. They lose the ball all the time.
Absolutely.
But, you know, but also every time they touch the ball, something magical could happen, and the other team is going to bring at least 2 defenders if they get the ball in space, which means what? You're opening things up for the passing game for other players.
Absolutely.
You know, being a great 1v1 player and being creative doesn't mean every time you get the ball, you try and dribble through the entire other team. You know, which I think is what a lot of people, that's the reaction when you talk about 1v1 play and dribbling.
No, it's about drawing the defenders to you and opening it up for other people.